Georgia is a team that I think is a little bit of a paper tiger, and I don't say that with a lot of conviction for a reason, and that is that Kirby Smart is the best active head coach in college football in the country, without a doubt. But this is a different Georgia team than we're accustomed to seeing in terms of their defense, which is just not as dominant. 48th in passing yards per game, only 20 sacks on the season, the worst out of any team, the least amount out of any team in the playoff. The two elite offenses they played so far this season that are top 10 in Power 4 in scoring, Tennessee and Ole Miss. Tennessee put up 41. Ole Miss put up 35. So against the two elite offenses they've seen, they were able to move the ball. They were able to put up points. Granted, they won both of those games, so what does it matter? But they have the 12th best passing attack in the SEC. They're 75th in the country. They're 34th best rushing attack in the country as well. So they do run the ball better than they throw it. Gunnar Stockton is good when he needs to be. He's timely, but it's not like this offense is completely explosive. 102nd in turnovers created, 107th in sacks. Georgia. Let me rephrase that again. The University of Georgia is 102nd in turnovers created and 107th in sacks. That is ridiculous. When you think about Georgia, you think about defensive dominance. You think about Nolan Smith, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis. Like, you think about these guys, Keely Ringo. You think about these guys at turnover machines, and they just get sacks. And everybody I just named is literally on the Eagles. N'Kobe Dean. Like, what are we doing here? Jalen Carter or Jalen, not Jalen Carter. What's the guy? Oh my God, Jalen Walker on the Falcons. There we go. Not all Eagles, but still, you get the point. When you think of this team, you think of elite pass rush. You think of turnovers. This Georgia defense is not like the Georgia defense you've been accustomed to since Kirby Smart has been there. They are 102nd in turnovers created and 107th in sacks, both the lowest ranking out of any team in the college football playoff. They're also 48th in the country against the pass. And in the second round, they're poised to see an Ole Miss offense that is the best, most efficient passing attack in this field, in this 12-team field. And I understand they played them earlier. Ole Miss moved the ball very well. They were going shot for shot with Georgia up until the fourth quarter, then 2 3-and-outs and a turnover on downs. But Ole Miss can play with Georgia. I think they're a little bit of a paper tiger. They don't really do anything elite there. They're like top 5 in time of possession in the country, so they do control the clock. When you look at the two elite offenses that Georgia has played in Tennessee and Ole Miss, both of those teams are top 10 in Power 4 in points per game. Tennessee put up 41, Ole Miss put up 35. So I think this Georgia team, even though they've been dominant, they beat everybody on their schedule. And I think it was a little bit of an easier SEC schedule than a lot of people are alluding to. And yes, Texas, good win. Alabama, good win. Ole Miss, good win. I understand it. Tennessee, not that good. They squeaked by Georgia Tech. And in that Texas game, like, that was a game. That was a game in the fourth quarter, and then they scored a touchdown onside kick. Kirby's a genius. That's why I'm not completely writing off this Georgia team, but I think they are the weakest out of the top 4 teams. I think they are weaker than Texas Tech is. I really do. Texas Tech is not getting enough flowers. So I think Georgia and Ole Miss in the second round could be a potential upset spot for the University of Georgia. All that being said, you know what? No, you know what? I'm not going to pull any punches. I don't think this Georgia team can win the national championship. There, I said it. That could age horribly, but think, like, looking at their roster, remembering their games that they played, like, Gunnar Stockton he's a gamer, he's timely. But you look at the roster that Georgia has, they don't really have any elite playmakers outside of Zachariah Branch. But when you look at the weapons, I'm taking Ohio State's, obviously, Carnell Tate, Jeremiah Smith. I'm taking Indiana's. I'm taking Oregon's. I'm taking Bama's. I'm taking A&M's. I'm taking Miami's with Tony and Daniels. I'm taking Texas Tech's with Dickey and Virgil and company. All Georgia has is Zachariah Branch and Frazier and Bowen, so which is a pretty good. Their running attack is their weakness. I shouldn't say Georgia doesn't do anything elite because their run game. I have it in here somewhere. I'm pretty sure they have like a top 10 run game. I don't even hold on. All right, maybe it's not top 10. Don't quote. A 34th best rushing attack. So that's like not even that elite. It's not even that elite. Georgia doesn't do anything particularly elite. That's why I think they're a little bit of a paper tiger, and I don't think they can win the national championship this year. And as far as SEC schedules are concerned, yes, they beat the good teams on their schedule, but out of the SEC teams that made the college football playoff, Georgia is 1-1 against them. Actually, let me double check that. Did they play? I don't think they played Oklahoma. Let me double check that. I don't think they played Oklahoma. I could be wrong though. Either way, it's crazy when you think about Kirby Smart's defenses and Georgia's defenses. It's sacks and turnovers. It's dominance. Their defense hasn't been that dominant. But then again, against the top 10 teams, they got gashed, but they still won. And that's really all that matters. And against Texas, which is a good offense down the stretch, Arch Manning was playing at an elite level down the stretch. That is a good defense too, and they move the ball well. So listen, I'm not writing off Georgia, obviously. That would be foolish. I guess I am kind of writing. I'm not. I am. Let me stop pulling punches. I am kind of writing off Georgia a little bit just because I think they're the worst out of the other three teams that have a bye. And I don't think that's crazy. Let me just double check. I don't want to sound like an idiot. I don't think they played Oklahoma. Yeah, they didn't. Like looking at their schedule, man, like it's not that inspiring, dude. It's not that inspiring. Like outside of like Tennessee's not like that's not that great of a win. And Tennessee hung 41 on them. Right? Bama, good win, obviously. But Bama even they beat them. They beat them the second time. The first time they lost, like that's yeah. I don't know. Bama's a good team. It's just like it's not crazy. Ole Miss is their best win, in my opinion. I think Ole Miss is a real problem. But other than that, like Kentucky win, Auburn, Florida, Mississippi State, Georgia Tech barely squeaked by them. Like that's an easy SEC schedule. That's not the hard. That's not an absolute gauntlet. That's not really a gauntlet SEC schedule like an Oklahoma or Ole Miss or even a Bama had to go through. Like that's not completely or Texas even. Like I'm just saying. Anyway, enough Georgia talk. Let's move on.